My current occupation is a business owner. I've started my new business social media company this year, so I'm really excited about that. So I'm the president and I actually work doing posts every day in the business, so it's really fun. My roles in the generator are to actually work in the company day-to-day doing the posts for companies. So what I do is actually market these clients. So they don't have to do any of these Facebook posts, they don't have to take pictures, they don't have to go on Twitter, interact and answer questions. I do all of that for them. A typical work day is me on the computer. What I really enjoy is the flexibility that it gives me. I can take my laptop, go work in the backyard with my cat, and it's so nice. I can do it any time of the day, so it's easy for me to have appointments or whatever and be really flexible. And yeah, I just keep an eye on all my clients and what's going on and post things for them. I'll go and visit with them, take pictures, see what's new in their business. In the community, you get to engage with them and talk about different issues, even just fun things sometimes. It's just always really rewarding when you get new followers and new people talking and discussing things. So it's always a different day and I really enjoy that. What I find the most challenging is probably some clients that have some companies are more difficult to engage with people because it's not always relevant to everybody. You know, if it's a kitchen company, they make kitchens. You know, if you're not in the market for a kitchen, that doesn't interest you, and so it's an extra challenge to try to engage with people and talk about something that might be relevant to them. And you know, down the line they might be in the market for that, so it's always worth the time to still try to engage with as many people as possible. That's what marketing and advertising is all about. So I've always really enjoyed writing. Writing has been a big part of my life, and creating something on paper that other people would read. And for a long time I thought, oh, maybe I'll become an author and write a book. It just hasn't happened yet, but you never know. So I started working at the Hamilton Spectator in advertising, which a different kind of writing, but you know, you're still creating content and engaging people, and I eventually got into the social media aspect of that. And I created a feature at the Spectator. It was called Eye on the Area. It still runs on the front of the classified section. It's like a photo. So this was before Twitter ever was around or anything. So I kind of think of it's almost like the beginnings of like social media almost. So we started doing a photo sharing feature where customers could send in photos and then we'd feature them in the newspaper. And then once Twitter came in, we started to share them more online, and you know, there's a lot more opportunity to print more photos online than there are in print. So we did that, and that was sort of my beginnings into social media. And then after I left the Spectator, then came the idea to start my own company and do that. So yeah, that's sort of a progression there. So I would very highly recommend it, because I did work within a large organization. I worked at the Hamilton Spectator for 16 years, worked way up as manager and everything. And this is just so different and a really different experience, and it's very you have to be very self-motivated, but it's so rewarding because everything you're doing is building your own projects in your own company. So I think anyone who has that sort of spark in them, that they really want to work on an idea of theirs, that is like the ideal person for it. And I think not everyone is ready for that, maybe when they're just come out of school, because you can gain a lot of experience in a company, working for a company as well. And then maybe later down the line that comes. You know, every experience counts. And yeah, I think there are people who have that spark right out of university, though. They're just raring to go and have an idea. And there are so many resources within Hamilton to help you with that too. Opportunities for students in owning their own business. There's tons of opportunity there because there's so many small businesses in the city that they could either work for on an entry-level basis, or you know, even intern for a little bit to get the experience. that is the experience of working with a company that's just starting up is so invaluable. There's Platform 302, of course, which has it's a place where there's just nothing but startups and entrepreneurs, and even just hanging out there and doing a job search daily there. That would be really helpful too, just to be in that environment. Definitely, students should take every opportunity possible when they're on campus, because there are so many people here who are trying to help them with their career after they're finished their degree. So things like that employment crawl, that was like such a great experience, and a chance for students to meet a lot of different business owners and see what's going on in the city, different companies that they might want to work for. That's a really good example, but there are so many other clubs and things like that on campus where you can just, you're making connections, and that's the most important thing, because when it comes down to it, when you're talking about hiring, people they want to hire somebody they know, or somebody can give them a reference. Like that, it takes a little bit of the risk out of hiring somebody, so that's key, I think. I'd have to say probably writing is a huge one, because you really, in an English program, you really learn how to write well and communicate well as well in writing, because a lot of people don't have that. And in my business, that's really helpful because a lot of people just say, I don't know how to write, I don't know what to say, and so that's a big one. Also, being able to, you learn how to think from different perspectives and different point of views to make an argument, and that is really useful for when you're trying to get a message across and you want people to understand, and you want to catch their attention in the whole advertising, marketing kind of field. That's what it's all about. So you really have to understand other people's perspectives and really write from that angle. So that has been really helpful as well. When I was in university, I did not take advantage of a lot of that stuff. When I came here, I just really immersed myself in making sure I got good grades, and I think I missed out on a lot of that. And I didn't realize that a lot of that is here to help students grow and learn and become, adults and have experience for the next phase of your life. And I really didn't get that, I think, from here, and now I realize I should have taken advantage of that, because I realize now people work here and that's their entire job, is to send you off into the world and have these experiences. And I think back then I was much more just thinking, I'm by myself, I have to do it for myself, and so that was something that I learned later, I think, in life, and it would have been a great thing to do. Job searching is really difficult, and it feels like a lot of work to just even put out resumes and write cover letters. It's almost like a job in itself. But you have to take it so seriously, and take each job that you're applying for seriously, and change your resume accordingly. I've done a lot of hiring in my career, and if somebody sends me a resume that says I can see that they were applying for a different kind of field, and that's just so obvious immediately. It's just like, they didn't even really want this job, so they're immediately discounted. So even those tiny little tweaks to your resume, changing the objective at the top, or in your cover letter, always do a cover letter. It might as well just not bother if you're just going to send a resume. Cover letter is so important. It doesn't have to be really long, and it shouldn't be really long. It should just be really to the point. And then there's the aspect of trying to get your foot in the door, like send in your resume and do that, but then also try to make contact with somebody somehow. And a lot of times it's difficult, but go on Twitter, research the company, find something out. So when you do have your interview, you know everything about that company. That is so important as well. My advice is to take every experience that you have and use it to its fullest. So you might think, oh, I'm in this terrible summer job or after university. Get everything you can out of that experience to move you to the next place in your life, because there's just so many experiences and opportunities, and you never want to waste one. Even if it feels like that's not what I want to do with my life, still you just never know who you're going to meet, and what you can learn that's going to get you the next job and the next in your career path.